Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about more two-person wireless microphone systems. You may have seen my other video comparing the Rode Wireless Go 2 to the Saramonic Blink 500 Pro. Well, to complicate things even more, I have yet another microphone system to talk about, and that one is the Hollyland Lark 150. Now, up until the Rode Wireless Go 2 came out, I would say that the Saramonic and the Hollyland were the two main competitors when it came to two-person wireless microphone systems. But now we have at least 3 different options. And so in this video, I'm going to talk specifically about this Hollyland. I'm going to give you some pros and cons of this mic system. I'm also going to compare it to the Rode Wireless Go 2 and include lots of sample footage in the real world so you can determine which of these two mic systems has the best sound quality. So to get started, let me tell you about how I use wireless microphone systems. I tend to use it a lot with my GoPro. In particular, right now, it's the GoPro Hero 9 with the GoPro Media Mod, and we use that for vlogging. We also use it with our mirrorless cameras, such as the Fujifilm X-T3 for shooting B-roll, and we also use our mirrorless cameras to shoot client projects and interviews. On occasion, we'll even use our wireless mic systems with our smartphones, because the Hollyland, the Saramonic, and the Rode are all compatible with smartphones. Next, let's do a really quick and brief comparison between the Saramonic and the Hollyland, because in my opinion, these two mic systems are really comparable in terms of both sound quality and also features. So in my research, the main differences between these two come down to the fact that the Hollyland has a safety track or a safety channel, and the Saramonic does not. Meanwhile, the Saramonic has a mute lock, so you can mute the microphones on the transmitters, while the Hollyland does not have a mute lock. One other thing is price. Up until recently, the Hollyland was the most expensive at $329, but recently that price seems to have come down, so it's now down to $279, but we'll see whether that price holds or not, while the Saramonic is $299. If you want to hear more details about the Saramonic's features, I have 2 videos linked below. One is comparing it to the Rode Wireless Go 2, and one is the official full-on review of the Saramonic. Now let's deep dive into the Hollyland Lark 150. And these are going to be some basic overviews because I haven't actually talked about this microphone system up until right now. So the main claim to fame of the Hollyland microphone system is that it has the world's smallest and lightest transmitters. For comparison, here is the Hollyland and here is the Rode, and definitely the Hollyland is a lot smaller. And here's the Hollyland versus the Saramonic. Again, they're both really small and compact, but that Hollyland is for sure a lot smaller. Next, this is the Hollyland receiver. So this part goes on the cold shoe mount of your camera, whether that be your smartphone, mirrorless camera, or your GoPro. And then you have to have this cable. This cable plugs into your camera's audio port. This receiver is really nice because it's relatively small. It's actually quite a bit bigger than the transmitters. So even though the transmitters are, really small and light, the receiver is maybe like double the transmitters. So it is a bit bulkier. However, when the receiver is powered on, it's a really simple and intuitive interface. You have intuitive decibel control knobs here that are independent and control each channel or each of the transmitters. You can also press the knob to control the mute on each channel. Here in the center, we have an LCD display, and that shows your audio levels or your meters, and also verifies the connection between your transmitters, as well as the overall battery life of the transmitters and the receiver. As far as controlling the settings on the receiver, that does take a little bit of practice. It's not the most intuitive, but there are 2 main features that you can control through the receiver. If you hold down the right knob for 3 seconds, that changes the audio from mono to stereo. Mono is single track audio, and that's especially good if you just want to use 1 transmitter and not 2 transmitters. On the other hand, stereo audio is split 2-track audio, and that is really good for recording 2 people or using 2 different transmitters. But it should be noted that if you are going to record in stereo settings, then you have to do some post-production to make sure that the audio is balanced between your 2 channels. Otherwise, it's going to sound really funky. If you go back to that right knob and hold it down for another 3 seconds, that enables the optional safety track. The safety track records at -6 decibels when you're recording in mono audio. And that's a nice backup in case your main audio channel happens to peak or clip. Because if that happens, then you basically can't use that audio. So having your safety track is a really nice feature. Next, let's get into some specifics between the Rode Wireless Go 2 and the Hollyland Lark 150. So we're going to start with some common features that both of these mic systems have. Both systems come with a receiver which connects to your camera and also two transmitters. The transmitters have built-in microphones, and they also have these wind muffs that are optional if you use those built-in microphones. Now, the wind muffs on the original Rode Wireless Go were pretty bad and they fell off all the time. But the Rode Wireless Go 2 really improved the connection between the wind muff and the microphone. And the Hollyland, like right out of the box, it has a really secure connection. It's actually a little piece of plastic here. And then this little knob actually goes right into a little space next to the microphone. So when that wind muff is plugged in, it's really secure and almost impossible to take off. So props to Hollyland for getting the wind muff right in the first go. For both the Rode and the Hollyland, there are clips on the back, so you can clip the transmitters to your subject, either right up here where their collar is, or maybe down by their belt. And then you also use a clip to clip the receiver to the top cold shoe mount of your camera. In case you don't want to use the built-in microphone, you can also plug in a wired lavalier microphone through the 3.5mm mic jack, which is present on both the Hollyland and the Rode. But the Hollyland comes with two wired lav mics in the kit, while the Rode, it's optional, and so you have to pay a little bit extra if you want the Rode wired lav mics in the kit. Both the Rode and the Hollyland are able to record in stereo sound and mono sound. Mono, again, is one-track audio, and stereo is two-track audio. They also have two-way mute, so you can mute the microphones through the transmitters or through the receivers. And finally, both mic systems have an optional safety track, and that's something that the Saramonic actually lacks. So if you really want a safety track, then you're down between the Rode and the Hollyland. Now let's talk specifically about the Hollyland Lark 150 and some of its pros and cons. In terms of pros, the best thing about it, in my opinion, besides the size, is this little case that it comes with. It is much smaller than the Saramonic's case. This is the Saramonic Blink 500 Pro, and the Saramonic case also is able to charge all of the units. The Hollyland is as well, but the Hollyland just does it in a much smaller form factor. So I really like that. This is much better for travel. Over on the Hollyland receiver, it also has a headphone jack here for plugging in a pair of headphones in case you want to monitor the audio as you're recording, or just to verify that your audio is working properly. The Rode does not come with a headphone jack, but that may or may not be a big deal breaker because a lot of cameras, especially mirrorless cameras, actually have a headphone jack for that exact purpose. And finally, the Hollyland has the advantage of indeed being the smallest and lightest transmitter out of all of these small wireless microphone systems out there of the same price point. So it's super small and compact, and it's a little bit more low profile. I like that it's a matte finish as opposed to the Rode, which is a little bit shinier, so it might stick out a bit more, especially if you're going to be using that built-in microphone. But for all of the pros of the Hollyland, there are still some cons, still not the perfect mic system. So first of all, it has a much shorter transmission range as opposed to the Rode. So the transmission range on the Hollyland is 100 meters, which is pretty equivalent to the Saramonic, versus the Rode, which beats them all at 200 meters. So transmission distance may or may not be a big factor for you, but if you want to put more distance between yourself and your camera, or yourself and the other subject that you're filming with, then you'll probably want to go with the Rode instead of the Hollyland. Another downside of the Hollyland is that it doesn't have the onboard recording, which is a brand new feature that just debuted with that Rode Wireless Go 2. We'll talk more about that in the next section, but that's something that is not available on the Hollyland. So that actually plays into the next con, which is that you can only charge all of these units inside of the Hollyland case. There's no USB-C or micro USB ports on either the transmitters or the receiver for the Hollyland. So speaking of charging, that's another thing that is not so great about the Hollyland system. In my testing, the Hollyland transmitters drain the fastest. I took it out just for a couple of hours yesterday, and after filming for, I would say, less than an hour, the transmitters were already showing that they were at half battery. So I'm not sure if that was accurate. Sometimes, like your cameras or your devices show that your battery is partially drained, but they can last a lot longer. So I don't know if it was accurate, but at least based on the LCD, it was telling me that they were draining much, much faster than something like the Rode or the Saramonic does. But since we're talking about battery life, the confirmed battery life for the Hollyland is 4 hours for the transmitters and about 7.5 hours for the receiver. The final con for the Hollyland is that it's not able to have mute lock. So mute lock, it's present on the Saramonic as well as the Rode, but that enables you to disable mute on your transmitters. And that can be really important because most of the time it's too easy to accidentally mute your transmitter. And so we found that out the hard way when experimenting with the Rode, where we accidentally muted ourselves. And so I would really like to have mute lock on the Hollyland to prevent that from happening. Right, so now we're seated outside, sort of, but we're also in a bubble.
In a bubble. Well, one thing about the bubble that's good is quiet this way. I don't hear any of the noise from the other tables.
Yeah, it's a lot more quiet. There is a little bit of music kind of coming through and a little bit of outside traffic, which is actually good for testing these mics. Next, let's talk about the pros and cons of the Rode Wireless Go 2. First of all, it has mute lock, which I am super, super thankful for. It also has the ability to record onboard audio onto the transmitters. So your transmitters can act like recorders and have a secondary backup of your audio in addition to the audio that's being recorded on your camera. That's really great for backup and just having a secondary track in case you lose it or in case you want a secondary backup of your audio. The receiver of the Rode Wireless Go 2 can also plug into your computer, and when it does that, you can enable 1 or 2 of the transmitters, and you can use these as microphones for voiceovers or live streaming or Zoom calls. And so it just really has more flexibility in terms of being used as a microphone, not just for cameras, but also for doing anything on your computer or on the web. Finally, the Rode has a much longer transmission distance, as we discussed earlier. So the Rode is able to go 200 meters line of sight versus 100 meters for the Hollyland. The Rode also claims to have better transmission in areas of high RF frequency, such as, airports or crowded restaurants. There shouldn't be interference from any of that other radioactivity. As for the cons, there are a few for the Rode. Number one, it does not come with wired lavalier microphones, and it doesn't come with a charging case. The charging case in particular, I think, is really important. I just really like the ability to not only store my transmitters and receivers in a nice hard case, but also charge them up all at once. With the Rode, you have to use independent USB-C cables to plug in your 2 transmitters and your receiver, and that can be a bit of a pain. As for the lav mics, there is actually an optional kit you can purchase with the Rode Wireless Go 2, and it comes with 2 Rode lavalier microphones. Rode lav mics, I'm actually using one right now. They're really great in sound quality, but they do cost a lot more. So if you get the option with the 2 included lav mics, the overall cost of the kit is going to go up quite a bit. The next con for the Rode is that if you want to control the gain or the decibel levels, you can actually do that on the receiver. There is a physical button that allows you to adjust the decibel levels. But right out of the box, there's only 3 levels. So you can go from like a low to a medium to a high. So you can't fine-tune your decibel levels on the Rode in the same way that you can with the Hollyland. The Hollyland has those knobs, and you can really get down into the details of how many decibels you want to add or subtract from your transmitters. On the Rode, there is a way to unlock finer tuning of your gain control, but you have to go into Rode Central to enable that. And since we're on the subject of Rode Central, that to me is the biggest downfall of Rode. If you want to unlock extra features, such as the gain control or the mute lock or the onboard recording, then you have to go into an app called Rode Central. Now, at first I thought this app was going to be a phone app, and I was like, oh, that's not a problem. Everything has a phone app these days. But the Rode Central app, as of right now anyway, it's only on a desktop computer. So if you want to access Rode Central to unlock those features, you have to physically plug in your transmitters and or receivers to a computer that has Rode Central installed. So that can be a bit of a hassle, especially if you want things like mute lock, you don't want it on and off all the time, or the onboard recording, then you have to have access to a computer to enable or disable any of those features. And finally, I'm going to leave you with some sample footage that we filmed with both the Hollyland and the Rode, and you guys can let me know what you think about the audio quality. Keep in mind that this is probably going to be really subjective because audio quality can really fluctuate or change based on the headphone type or the speaker type that you're using, as well as the audio playback on your device.
We're back on Schweitzer Mountain in very different conditions.
Yeah, we're not going up to the top this time. We can actually see the top where the resort and the ski lifts are. We paused a little bit further down where there's supposed to be a really amazing snowshoeing trail.
It's icy right away.
Yep, it's all slushy.
Yeah, it's like a mixture of slush and ice. But now we're on the real trail here.
It's a nice view, and I bet, yeah, we keep going up, so the view probably only gets better. But right now it's pretty nice.
Yeah, this is great. Here your spike should be really helping.
Yeah, I feel so good with these spikes. This is my first time using them.
Nice.
But yeah, I bought them based on reviews. And all the reviews are like, when you wear these, you will feel invincible. Like you'll never fall down or slip again. And I feel that way. They make you feel a lot more sturdy on your feet.
Susie was terrified of heights and mountains and slipping, and look at her now. It's water, all right.
Oh, wow. That's so pretty. That's cool. Wow, I mean, waterfalls are cool in general, but with all the ice and the snow around them.
Yeah, this is not even
better.
it. This is just the first little part.
Wow. It's like pillows of marshmallow down here. It's so fluffy looking.
It's pretty fluffy and a little frosted. Oh, it actually runs out, so I think we're...
Oh, this might be the end, huh?
There's more. Wow. But yeah, I don't think continuing is the best idea.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
It's doable, but risky.
Yeah.
Because I'm already sinking, and the only way to cross is there.
So you gotta go, is that a bridge or a tree or? You can, but yeah, it's really thin.
We stayed here now a week and we never felt lacking anything.
Mostly came here for lunch and dinner. And unfortunately couldn't really come during the day, even though it was actually really nice weather. But we were working during the day.
Yeah, exactly. So now is our chance, Saturday. Yeah, I've heard about it from locals, and it is evident. Every license plate almost. Very few are from Washington like us, and then all other ones are from Idaho. We made it to downtown Coeur d'Alene, near where we're staying tonight. It's very busy.
Yeah, similar to Sandpoint. It's like everybody came out today, enjoying the weather. Everybody has ice cream, so yeah, it definitely feels like summer.
Still snow on those mountains up in the back. Quite a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Feels amazing once again.
So nice. Remember last time we were here, we did this hike. It's a really nice little hike back there. Then we went to this hotel because it started raining. And then we sat up top. It was one of our first dining experiences, actually, right after COVID. Yeah.
We found a place to sit in a giant bubble.
Yeah, we're here at this place called Crafted, and we've actually passed by it before they had these little bubble things. In comparison, this is what it sounds like with just the GoPro media mod.
I made noise for the chest.
Without these lav mics. So, in conclusion, I actually think that the sound quality of the Rode and the Hollyland, similar to the Saramonic, is really, really close. I don't think there's a really clear winner in terms of audio quality. And that's pretty shocking because up until recently, a lot of these mic systems, it would really come down to you get what you pay for, and the more you pay, the better the audio quality. But at this point, the Hollyland and the Rode and even the Saramonic are all about the same price. They're about $299 or $279 in the case of the Hollyland right now. And for that price, you're getting pretty impressive sound quality. I don't think there's a huge difference between either of those brands. What it really comes down to are those extra features, those little pros and cons that we talked about for each of the brands. And so in that case, I actually think Hollyland, Rode, and even Saramonic, they can all coexist because they're offering features that the other does not, at least at this point. But I'd love to hear what you guys think. Which of these two, or even three, wireless microphone systems would you end up using, or which one do you think is better? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, let's have a discussion because I really can't make up my mind about which one I'm actually going to end up using going forward. Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.